This is going to be showing you an optimal Titan setup for your day 1 clears of the Grandmaster Nightfalls, which you're going to launch at this reset. So this video is just meant to be a quick video to watch before the Grandmaster's release, or before you're about to run your team run for the Grandmasters, because this is going to be based on team composition and what's the most helpful setup to use on a Titan for your team. So the first Grandmaster that's going to launch is Glassway. We know this definite. The modifiers are fixed for Grandmaster Nightfalls, we know this. They don't rotate, they are the same. This modifier, I forget what's going to be for Glassway. It might be Shocker, it could be Arachno, one of those. This is an enemy modifier, okay? So it's not, doesn't matter so much, this mod. These will be Barrier and Overload champions to deal with. Chaff, so radar is always disabled. Grandmaster modifiers, match game, equipment locked, extinguish, so if your team dies you go to orbit. Limited reses, champions mob, and this will be income and void, and aerial damage is increased, so do not jump, and void damage is increased massively. It won't be arc, it's definitely income and void, unless they change it, but I don't think they will. They are fixed. We've had inside Terminus 4 or 5 times as a Grandmaster, loads, and it's never changed, it's always the same. So for the Titan setup, it's going to be Sentinel, Core of the Commander, middle tree, with Void Wall Grenade. I'm probably going to use, I may use Suppressor though, that's really good on enemies. I might just use that, I might use Magnetic, it just depends, it's personal preference with this. It's not make or break the nade, it's whatever you want. This is more important though. Tower and Barricade can block off reses. If someone goes down, you can get a wall on their orb, get the res safely. Don't use Rally, don't make the mistake of doing that. Tower and Barricade for protection. Compare that, we pair that with Ursa Furiosa, so we block damage with Sentinel Shield for more super energy. So this is like Phoenix Protocol, but for Titans you keep getting your banner shield back. Especially with all the orb generation, if you pair this with a Well of Radiance Warlock or a Tether, you're going to get the orbs back, you're going to get the super back. So this is going to work out really well for protection, which is what you need in these Grandmasters. It's not DPS so much. It's not stuff like that. It's more, how do I stay alive? It's not about how do I do this quickly. It's about how you stay alive, get clear. So we pair with that. As I said, the champions are Barrier and Overload. Now, this is a topic for another video, but I'll quickly state. When you use double primary heavy in the game, you get more heavy ammo, because the game will only drop white ammo and purple ammo. The white ammo will be split between your, so for this it'll be hand cannon and scout, and you'll get the bricks, providing you've got ammo finders on to do the job. If you add a energy weapon into the mix, then you won't. The only exception is if the heavy weapon matches the special. So say I used a energy GL and a heavy GL, GL ammo finder will work for both. So that's viable. Someone could use this setup in your team comp, say they would go Overload, but they don't have Barrier. But your other 2 teammates would have to use 2 barriers. Don't just go to 1 barrier. You definitely want 2 people minimum with Barrier Scout. You can allow for 1 person to use like an energy weapon, like a sniper or a GL or a shotgun. I don't advise a shotgun, but you know what I'm saying. But for me, the shields, the match game shields are important as well. There's only 1 solar shield in the whole thing. Don't need a spec for it. A super can easily deal with that. You can have 1 person maybe with a solar scout on. But you definitely want, for the boss fight, 2 people with energy, arc energy weapons. Because there's a ton of arc shields. And if you're spamming Anarchy on Harpies, you're wasting ammo, which otherwise could be used on the boss, it could be used on champs. So spec for a good weapon that's going to help you out, a good primary. And this is good because it's got 1 for all. Now 1 for all, we know the Grandmaster enemies are tanky. But if I eat 3 separate enemies, I get the 1 for all buff. It's really good. It's a top tier perk for Grandmasters, so I'll put that on. I could go backup mag, I could go major spec. If you put on major spec, you will do increased damage, which I'm probably going to do, to shields. Major spec works on the champion shields, so I'll put that on as well. For the Overload hand cannon, you need an explosive payload one. If you're not using a hand cannon with explosive payload, you're gonna find overloads a problem. If 3 of you put on an explosive payload hand cannon, you will melt champions. You will literally melt them, even on Grandmaster. So make sure you're using one, and if you're not using one, get one in your loadout. Okay, this will also make Warmind cells, this weapon. I didn't end up going that way, but obviously if you incorporate that into a setup, then you can have the added benefit of cells. So this is the role I've got on, which is really good. So that's the primary sorted. We're obviously going to use Anarchy because we can debuff enemies this season with grenade launchers. So on your first clear, you use the best setup. We use the best setup. We're not messing about. We're not putting weapons on that makes it harder for our team. You want to make it easy for your team. So we're using this. As I said, you'll get more heavy. So the resistance mods and the stat distribution of your armor, try to spec for high recovery and high intellect. I would like higher intellect for this setup. The high, if you can get tier 10 recover, tier 10 intellect, then do it. Just spec for those two distributions. And then for resistance, I know void incoming is going to be increased, but the problem is if you go void damage resistance, you are in danger of being one shot by the snipers. The 70% of Glassway is fallen. It's not Vex. It's a weird one. It's not Vex. It's Vex and Fallen. Only the boss is Vex. So you need to get to the boss first before you even think about that. So you want to arc damage resistance on. Make sure you bring it. I can't tell you how good that is because you will not be one shot by a sniper. If you don't have that on, you're going to get one shot and you're going to waste resis because the sniping in this game from enemies, especially Fallen, they're so accurate at times and they can catch you off guard. So if you do get hit once, you'll survive it. Don't jump though. If you jump, a sniper will one-shot you out there. Then we go Concussive Dampener. You could go sniper resistance, but you don't need it. The arc will do the job. Then use a concussive, because then the concussive's gonna proc at the boss fight. With all the Vex that do void, they're deadly. The concussive will help you out a little bit because it's incoming area of effect. It won't help against a direct hit though. If a wyvern's hitting you directly, you're dead. Which is why you want to get Anarchy on them. You want to be using your Ursa shield. You know, especially when they are the biggest threat in the whole thing. Concussive Dampener, 100%, put that on. Then we look at the main mods of what I'm using. So this is a protective light build exclusively. I haven't spec'd for Warmind cells. I could have incorporated it into it, but we're playing support role, and you're going to see how this is all going to come together. So the main one is protective light, which you need a void piece for. So we've got that on our helmet to start. We've got take and charge, which means we can get charge with light from picking up orbs. Your teammates make you orbs. They make you orbs from masterwork weapons and the supers that they use. So we then get protective light going when we get an orb, which is all the time. You're always getting orbs. So that's that synergy. Then you can use a charged up mod, so you get an extra charge of light. Base charge of light is ×2. You add 1, it's ×3. That then buffs protective light, which people might not know this, but it states the more stacks consumed, the longer the damage resistance lasts. If you are one shot, you're going to be getting that protective light buff even longer than normal. So add a charge of light in there, which I did. Then we have a shield break charge, because the shield break charge is going to help out if you at the boss, because there's going to be a lot of arc harpies. So I just put that on for additional weight of charge of light. Then we're going to have powerful friends on. So powerful friends helps for your team. So when you become charge of light, nearby allies also become charge of light. So if they're using protective light as well as you, they're gonna get the buff. And all that needs to happen is I pick up one of their orbs, and there you go. Your whole team's just got protective light because I put powerful friends on. So make sure you put that on. Obviously anti-barrier scout overload hand cannon on the gauntlets. On the helmet we've got GL ammo finder. That's so critical. Put that on. I've just put a scout rifle on. That will work for your hand cannon and your scout, because the white brick you pick up will just split between the two. That's fine. I didn't need to put that on, but I've got nothing else to put to really, so I'll just put that on there. And then recuperation on the boots. We gel Scavenger, so the Scavenger we get more ammo per brick. Recuperation, get health regen off orbs. And then lastly, Breach and Clear. Breach and Clear debuffs all sort of champions or ultras in the game, so you can get a debuff to all champions that you do, and we're going to get that via Breach and Clear. So that's going to be the setup on the Titan. That's basics of it. I try not to make the video too long. I've made it too long as it was, but there's a lot of sort of explaining into it. But this is going to be the most useful support role for your team for Titans. Hope you enjoy it. Thank you.